Come back with me in the film series. This time the film focuses on a young high school graduate who is trying to find his identity during the summer vacation before he enters the college stage. Spoiler ahead, stay tuned and enjoy. The film opens with a scene of an aerobics class, juxtaposed with a class of students taking exams. Two protagonists of the film are shown in this scene, with a woman named Terry Green, who participates in aerobics, and Bobby Crystal, who is frustrated with an exam that doesn't go well. After the exam, Bobby and his best friend, Jack, meets a girl he has admired for a long time named Bonnie. But unfortunately, it seems Bobby's feelings are not reciprocated, because Bonnie is dating a student. Bobby, Billy and Jack go somewhere to celebrate their graduation by meeting some women to release their youth, but they go home upset. The next day, Bobby meets his father, named Crystal, who is a rich lawyer and graduated from Yale University. Feeling disappointed with Bobby's failure in the French final, so Bobby has to take a makeup exam with a score of at least 85. To maintain his acceptance, Crystal hires Terry as a highly skilled French tutor to stay at Crystal's house during the summer and will teach Bobby to pass his exams. In addition to the normal compensation, Crystal offers to give Terry a bonus payment of $10,000 if Bobby passes his exams, and Terry agrees with the offer. Terry and Bobby start working together to learn French, but unfortunately Bobby has no interest in the subject because he feels that this is not what he wants, but his father's selfishness to make Bobby a Yale University graduate. That night, Bobby and his silly friend started acting up again by going to a cafe and dating a woman. But suddenly the woman's lover came with his motorcycle gang to catch them, but in the end the three of them managed to escape. And that night, after he thought everyone at Crystal's house was asleep, Terry used the family pool to swim. But apparently Bobby hasn't slept yet and leaves his room. While looking for fresh air, immediately stops and sees Terry Yang swimming. Then Bobby follows Terry Yang back to his room and just to peek at him. The next day they went back to study and Bobby became interested in Terry, so the atmosphere was getting hotter. And then Bobby jumped into the pool to swim. Bobby began to tell him that actually he has a goal for his future, which is to go to UCLA and learn about astronomy. Upon hearing this, Terry sympathized a little, but reminded Bobby that wherever he ended up going to college, he had to pass his French final. Billy and Bobby meet and see the women who are doing aerobics while discussing Terry and Bobby's meeting. Then, with Terry's help and encouragement, Bobby started to make some progress by getting an 80, which meant he needed 5 more points to pass the exam. Then they decided to go to a restaurant to celebrate with a meal together, and suddenly a man named Pierre approached them. Pierre was Terry's ex-girlfriend, whom he just left. Feeling uncomfortable, Bobby and Terry left him. That night Bobby kept an eye on Terry, who was swimming regularly, then sneaked behind him. But suddenly behind Terry managed to surprise him. Terry gently reprimands Bobby for spying on him, but it's clear they're starting to have a common interest. The next day Bobby finds Terry with his girlfriend named Dawn Sylvester, who is chatting in the car. Then remembers Terry for their time to study. Night falls, and after going out with his friends, Bobby finally returns home and finds Terry very upset, because before he found Dawn, who had turned away from him. Bobby tried to calm him down, and they started to share a lot of things, which made things weird because Bobby was expressing his feelings. After that, Bobby went back to Dan Terry's room, went to the pool, and while swimming, he found Bobby waiting for him. Then he pulled him into the pool and the two swam together. One day they celebrate Billy's birthday party, and Jack joins the party. Meanwhile, Crystal finds Terry while asking him out on a date, but Terry angrily then refuses. The next day, Crystal, who was tricked by seeing Bobby, who pretended to be asleep due to studying all night, feeling happy about it and proud of it. Upon hearing of Dawn's arrival, Bobby tries to stop him from seeing Terry, and he manages to get Dawn to leave. Bobby was reading a book and suddenly was approached by Bonnie, who felt funny about the book. After that, he left Bobby. Terry and Bobby leave on a Vespa, and while they are driving, suddenly they are approached by Don in his car, who keeps chasing them. But in the end, they manage to leave him. Bobby's parents left, and he told his maid to go on vacation, so there were only Bobby and Terry at home. Night fell. Billy and Jack, who were walking near Bobby's house, suddenly heard a strange voice. Dan tried to approach the voice, and to their surprise, they saw Bobby and Terry, who were together. Bobby and Terry's family enjoy dinner together. Bobby tries to dissuade his father from going to Yale University, but sadly Crystal stays on her feet. After that, before going to bed, at the time in front of Terry, Crystal's room accidentally saw their closeness. Bobby finally managed to pass the exam with a score of 91. This made both of them very happy, and they went for a ride together. Suddenly they stopped on the side of the road, and Bobby was disappointed that Terry had let go of his feelings, and Dan was going to France to leave him. Afterwards, Crystal goes to Bobby and reveals to him about her promise to pay Terry a $10,000 bonus if Bobby succeeds, which means that Terry's affection for Bobby is only driven by his greed. Upon hearing this, Bobby reacted angrily too, confronting his father in an arrogant manner and telling him that he would attend UCLA to study astronomy, and that now that he was an adult, he would no longer allow his father to dominate every aspect of his life. She leaves her father in anger and asks Terry about it, and Terry tries to explain the truth, but unfortunately Bobby calls her a bad woman and runs away after Terry angrily denies the accusations. Later, Bobby looks for Bonnie, the woman he used to like, and uses his newfound beliefs with women and tries to persuade him to start dating her. Terry prepares to leave the house. Then Bobby approaches him to say goodbye and apologizes to him for yesterday's accusations that hurt him. Then Terry told him, without further ado, that he would never forget her. The two share the final sadness, and Terry finally leaves. While Bobby jumps into the air, Dan looks forward to his future. And the movie is finished. Don't forget to give support, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and see you later.